Yeah, and that's one of the criticisms, that the American Family Association is so conservative on issues like gay rights and abortion that he would be alienating a more moderate, independent public if he actually decides to run for president. And by all indications, he probably will, or he probably will announce very quickly.
Well, you know, some people say, well, this will alienate people. I mean, time will tell. I mean, there are still millions of Americans who would say, regarding things like the sanctity of human life and the sacredness of marriage and the things that made our country great, what our founders call self-evident truths, in other words, moral absolutes. There are a lot of people that say, look, it's not a narrow or conservative position. It's simply truth. It's reality. And so time will tell, but I believe there are still enough Americans that believe in what is right and good and true and virtuous and moral, that I believe if there's a candidate, whether it's Perry or whomever, a candidate that's courageous enough to speak up and stand up for what is right, I think the American people will get behind him.
So far, I think Governor Sam Brownback of Kansas, his conservative Roman Catholic, he has agreed to go down there. Governor has invited, obviously, other 49 governors. But let me read you some of the comments that came in an article from a Dallas newspaper. This is from Katie Sherrod. She's an independent writer, producer, progressive Episcopalian activist from Fort Worth. She says, I would not participate in this event because I think it is a cynical use of prayer and fasting as political theater for the sole purpose of advancing Perry's presidential ambitions. What do you say to that?
I say that is the fallacy of reductionism. Reductionism is saying that something is, quote, nothing but. Oh, that's nothing but political posturing. That's nothing but using political theater as a means to gain headlines. We don't know another person's heart. I think, look, with a nearly 10% unemployment rate, with house values plummeting, the economy is in the tubes, going down the tubes. I mean, we need to pray. We really need to pray as a country. And, you know, and I'm not just saying this. I really know nothing about Perry's political aspirations or designs on the White House or not. I'm just saying as a Christian and as a patriot that I think it's a wonderful thing. And for those that would look askance at this, I mean, look at the history of our country. The first governor to initiate a statewide day of prayer was Thomas Jefferson when he was governor of Virginia. Patrick Henry, who was 5-time governor of Virginia, Patrick Henry said this, that it cannot be emphasized too often or too strongly that this country was founded not by religionists, but by Christians. That's what Patrick Henry said. I think about March 1864, the U.S. House of Representatives in a document said that no purpose of action can be formed against this nation because they were talking about the strength, the unity of the country. We are a Christian nation founded on Christian principles. And so it's got to be pointed out that this is voluntary in August, this gathering for prayer for America. You don't want to come, you don't have to come.
Well, this is another comment from Deal Hudson. He's the president of the Catholic Advocate in Washington, D.C. This is a Catholic. He says, I mean, he likes the idea. And this is something that should apply to all non-evangelicals. He says evangelicals often don't realize how they limit themselves by not taking into consideration Christian friends and allies who prefer different ways of expressing their fervent concern for the future of our nation. What do you say to that?
Well, you know, I think that it's time that we do pull together. People that, yes, we believe in God, we believe in moral absolutes. We're constitutionalists. We don't want to see America reinvented to be a pluralistic nation, European-styled. We want to see America remain the great nation that it has been now for 2 centuries plus. I know, let me say this, several junctures in our nation's history recently in the late 70s and 80s. I mean, there was a call to have people that were, people of morals and believed in absolute truth to come together. And I would say that it helped Ronald Reagan get elected twice, and I think it helped Bush Sr. get elected. I will say I think the conservatives in this country, and especially religious conservatives, are kind of fragmented. I think there's some apathy and maybe a little bit of hopelessness. And evangelical Christians, it's estimated that maybe only 1 out of 3 vote or are registered to vote. So, thank God And by the way, let me say this. We're not talking about how you do church. We're talking about being salt and light in our culture, being a positive force for good. Evangelicals need to link arms with Roman Catholics and people that, as I said, believe in morality and truth and want to see the future years of our country be the best years yet.
All right. Thank you very much. Dr. Alex McFarland, down at Atlanta Bureau, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Lauren.